In the dead of a medieval winter, when the sun vanished early and darkness ruled for 16 hours a day, people did not simply wait for spring, they created light where none should exist. Here is the paradox. In an age without electricity, without central heating, without safety from hunger, the coldest months became the most crowded and emotionally powerful days of the year. Winter festivals were not decoration, they were survival. As icy winds howled through thatched roofs and stone walls bled warmth, the calendar itself became a weapon against despair. Feasts, fires, bells and songs were timed precisely to the longest nights, not by accident, but by hard-learned necessity. Imagine standing in a village where the ground is frozen, solid food is nearly gone, and sickness spreads easily. Then suddenly the church bells ring, torches flare, and the entire community gathers. This was not joy for luxury. It was psychological heat. People believed light could push back death, because in many ways it did. Festivals like Yule, Christmas, Candlemas, and local saints' days clustered tightly around winter because isolation killed faster than cold. These moments forced people together, sharing warmth, calories, stories, and faith. What looks like celebration from a distance was actually a carefully engineered response to seasonal terror. The mystery is not why they celebrated, but how these rituals kept entire societies alive through the darkest centuries. To understand why winter festivals mattered, you have to understand medieval winter itself. Roads vanished under mud, and snow trade slowed to nothing, and fresh food disappeared almost overnight. Salted meat and dried grain kept bodies alive, but spirits eroded quickly. Winter was when wolves came closer, when disease spread fastest, and when loneliness became deadly. Communities responded by anchoring time to shared rituals. Pagan traditions of fire and sun never truly vanished. They merged with Christian calendars, creating layers of meaning everyone understood. Yule fires became Christmas hearths. Roman Saturnalia echoes lived on in feasting and temporary social reversals. These festivals were scheduled checkpoints, reminding people they were not alone and that survival was collective. Lords opened halls, peasants received charity monasteries, distributed food and ale. Even the poorest villages pooled resources for one night of abundance because morale mattered as much as nutrition. The Church encouraged this not out of kindness alone, but because despair threatened order. Lighted candles symbolized divine presence, but they also physically extended the usable day, reducing accidents and fear. Music and bells cut through silence that otherwise amplified anxiety. Over generations, these practices became tradition and then identity. The winter calendar was not superstition. It was a survival map passed down quietly through centuries of hardship. Here is the clever part. Belied line? Medieval winter festivals worked because they solved multiple problems at once. First, heat. Large communal fires concentrated warmth efficiently in shared spaces instead of wasting fuel on individual homes. Second, calories. Feasts were timed after slaughter season when meat was freshest and before supplies spoiled. Third, sanitation. Gathering people allowed coordinated cleaning, cooking, and oversight, reducing isolated illness. Even alcohol played a role. Weak ale and spiced wine were safer than water and provided fast energy while also lowering stress hormones, though they did not know that term. Light itself mattered technically. Candles and oil lamps raised ambient temperature slightly and prevented injuries that spiked during dark months. Psychologically, festivals reset time. When survival feels endless, people give up. When winter is broken into name moments, it becomes manageable. Storytelling reenacted myths of rebirth not because they were poetic, but because they trained the mind to expect endurance. Children learned songs before they learned fear. Adults renewed bonds that ensured help later. This knowledge faded as modern heating and lighting removed the urgency. Festivals became symbolic rather than functional. But the logic was never mystical. It was practical engineering of human resilience, using light, sound, rhythm, and shared belief. The same principles still apply today, even if we pretend they do not. Modern winter, depression, isolation, and burnout echo medieval fears, just in quieter forms. We heat individual rooms, but starve communal spaces. We have calories, but lack ritual timing that forces rest and connection. Medieval festivals remind us that efficiency alone does not sustain humans. Shared meals still improve mental health. Light therapy mimics candle logic. Seasonal gatherings reduce stress hormones just as medieval bells once did. Even energy efficiency has lessons here. Centralized warmth, shared meals, and synchronized schedules reduce waste. Survival experts now emphasize morale as critical as shelter, and medieval people understood this intuitively. They designed celebrations not for entertainment, but for endurance. In disasters today, communities that organize shared routines recover faster. The calendar becomes a tool again. What we lost was not belief, but memory. We replaced communal survival systems with private comfort and wondered why winter still feels heavy. The past offers a different blueprint. Use light intentionally. Eat together. Mark time aloud. Create moments that force connection when conditions discourage it. These are not old ideas. They are ancient solutions waiting to be remembered. When you strip away the costumes and carols, winter festivals in the Middle Ages reveal something profound. Humans survived not by resisting winter, but by shaping it. They accepted darkness, then punctured it deliberately with fire sound and shared meaning. These festivals were acts of defiance against entropy, reminding people that life continued even when nature withdrew its kindness. The greatest takeaway is simple. Survival is not only about tools and shelter. It is about rhythm, hope, and community, engineered with intention. Medieval people did not romanticize winter. They confronted it together. In doing so, they left us a lesson far more relevant than we admit. In a world that still grows colder in different ways, the need for shared light has not disappeared. It has only changed form. Remembering why those festivals existed helps us understand ourselves. If this story changed how you see the past or the present, consider sharing it and continuing the journey, because history is not behind us. It is quietly explaining how we are still here.